welcome to this week's MoneyFit Live webinar, Get Your Certificate, all about the pre-bankruptcy credit counseling certificate and FAQ surrounding that. My name is Todd Christensen, Education Manager at MoneyFit by DRS, author of Everyday Money for Everyday People. Thank you for joining me. Let's go ahead and get right into this webinar. Let's talk about the basics. Okay, why do you even need a certificate of counseling? It is based on the 2005 change to the bankruptcy law, Bankruptcy Abuse and Prevention and Consumer Protection Act of 2005. Says that all consumers who are filing for bankruptcy, all individuals must get a certificate of counseling before they file. What is it? It's a budget briefing. It's called a certificate of counseling, but essentially what you're looking at during the process is putting together a budget and reviewing your finances in general. And it's not just looking at your income. It looks at your expenses, various expenses, looks at the amount of debts that you have, who you owe money to, the types of debts. And then at the end, you get the certificate in paper format or PDF online, emailed, typically both, often both, I should say, so that you can submit it to the court directly. Okay, who needs it? I said all individuals who are filing a Chapter 7, 11, 12, and 13. By far the most common, Chapter 7. Approximately 3/4 of all bankruptcies in this country are Chapter 7, individual or couple bankruptcy, household bankruptcy. That's the liquidation. Very rare to have individuals file Chapter 11 and Chapter 12, but because you can have businesses filing as well, but if it's an individual filing for those, they still need a certificate according to NOLO. And Chapter 13, which is the wage earners or the repayment plan filing, individuals and households need to get that. It is for couples. Both of the individuals in the household, both spouses, both partners need to take the certificate program. One cannot take it for the other. You both have to take it. Are there exceptions? Yes, there are some exceptions, but they're extraordinarily rare. If an individual finds themselves in a military zone, typically meant for our soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen, and military servicemen and women, if they're going through an active bankruptcy, which is really uncommon, but there's a possibility they may not need, the individual in the military zone may not need it. That has to get approved. Don't talk to a credit counselor about that. They can't give approval. Don't talk to your attorney. If you're using an attorney, they can't say yes or no. It has to come through the court, that approval. And there are, in a few even more rare cases, I believe, emergencies. To give you an example, we've had individuals who are deathly ill, literally have illnesses that they are dying from, and the court still requires them to get the credit counseling certificate. We've had a 91-year-old, 94-year-old, people going who are actually incarcerated have to still get the certificate of counseling. So if you're going through bankruptcy, just expect to get it. It's only under extraordinary circumstances that the court grants exceptions. Who offers it? Well, it is the nonprofit credit counseling agencies. These are 501c3s. That's the type of nonprofit. It's a code from the IRS or from U.S. code that designates who's a nonprofit and the types of nonprofits. But they also have to be approved. Can't just be any nonprofit credit counseling agency. It has to be approved by the Executive Office of the U.S. Trustee. That is an office within the U.S. Department of Justice. They keep a track. Here's the website. They keep track of all of the approved credit counseling agencies. They approve them. It does not mean that the agency provides a great service or that they have been evaluated. the Department of Justice, the EOUSD, simply says this is an organization that we have approved to provide the service. It's not a recommendation or any kind of endorsement. Now, if you want an easier link to get there, then go to that https://bit.ly/pre-bk. That'll take you to that same EOUSD website. Here's the process. If you're going through the process, you're going to want to first find the provider. I gave you that list already. It's the bit.ly/pre-bk. Decide, even before you go to that list, how are you going to take it? Do you want it? Because you can take it online, you can take it in person, and you can take it by phone. Those are the basic three options you have. There are some circumstances where some credit counseling agencies can offer. I've heard that some offer it by mail. We have not been able to provide that. We've not seen another organization that provides it, but I have spoken with or corresponded with consumers who have gone that direction somehow. Generally, just expect to do it online. That means you get online and you put in your information. But even doing it that way, you have to do a follow-up counseling session, typically by phone, sometimes by email or chat. But in person, it's more and more uncommon because there are just fewer and fewer office locations, physical office locations where credit counseling agencies do business. Most anymore are doing business out of call centers because that's the way American consumers have been demanding their services since the early 2000s. Then once you decide the method and you've gone to the website, the EOUSD website, and looked up who in your state provides the service according to internet or phone or in person as you choose, then you reach out. It's not something your attorney does. It's something you have to do. You reach out either online, because the EOUSD website will provide the URL, or the phone number, or even the physical address. So you have to reach out. Sometimes you can, especially if it's internet, you can start taking that online program immediately. If it's phone or in person, you typically have to set up an appointment. Expect there to be a payment. You can expect that payment to typically be on the very, very low range, $10. Most are in the $25 to $50 range, but some will have it up to even $85 for a couple. Many, including ourselves, our own organization, will offer both certificates to a couple for the same price. Doesn't matter if it's one individual or if it's two individuals, same price for a couple. Not all companies do that. Not all nonprofit approved credit counseling agencies do that, but that's the way most of us do. You can request a fee waiver. Typically, if you are at 125% or less of the federal poverty line, and that's a number that's determined by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. You can, if you want, you can just Google current federal poverty line or poverty amount, and you'll see on the government website what that is for the lower 48 states, and then it's a little different for Hawaii and Alaska as well. But generally, if you're at that level or below, you're going to pretty much automatically qualify for a fee waiver. If there are other circumstances where you're struggling to come up with the cash to pay that, you'll have to talk with the credit counseling agency directly. Typically, you can make your payment, almost always do it by online. You can also do it if you're doing a phone counseling or in-person counseling. You can use it at that point as well. Cash sometimes. We generally try and accept a debit or a direct electronic check. But there are some companies that actually that will offer to accept credit card payments, which seems kind of counterintuitive. But if they accept PayPal, it can be either a debit or a credit. And then you can, as I mentioned, if it's online version, you can start that program immediately. It's going to take typically at least 30 minutes by phone. The phone side, if you're doing it online, it can take you anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes to put the information in and to do the follow-up phone call or email exchange. We usually tell people just to plan on at least 60 minutes, but that our average is between 60 and 90 minutes for the amount of time clients are taking to complete their own online program and do the follow-up. The online program, the counseling portion, where you're putting in the information, that's going to be asking you for your budget. It's going to ask you your income, your monthly expenses, the debts that you owe, who you owe the money to. It'll ask you why you're filing for bankruptcy, general terms, give you drop down or checkbox options, and we'll go through some of your options to bankruptcy besides, and then how the bankruptcy process works. So that typically it's not going to keep people from filing. Most people who are at this point are going to file anyway. But we do hope that it's good enough information and effective enough that it can help you in the future to minimize the likelihood of having to file another bankruptcy down the road. So you're going to need that personal information, contact information, name and address, phone number, and email address so that the counselor can reach out to you and complete the program. You're going to need your household expenses, your creditors, your balances, your income. And then if you have an attorney, if you're using an attorney, you're going to include that information with their email address, hopefully, or at least their phone number. That way, credit counseling agencies like MoneyFit can copy them or CC them when we send our clients the certificate so that the attorney automatically gets the certificate as well. Here's what you get. You get the certificate. Yes, that's what you need. But you're also going to get and have access to your household budget that is put together during the process and what's called a personalized action plan. The action plan will basically be a summary of your discussion with of the information you've submitted, along with a summary of the discussion you've had or the back and forth via email and chat you've had with the counselor, so that you have that really good, solid counseling information going forward as needed. Those are the three things. When we send out our final email to our clients, our bankruptcy clients, there's going to be 3 attachments, and those are the 3 attachments that they get. Okay, so let's go through a few frequently asked questions. 1, can spouses take the course together? Yes, they can take it together, or they can take it separately. Quite often, depending on the program that you use or that the counseling agency is using, you might have to specify that up front, that you're going to take it together or that you're going to take it separately. Typically, we recommend that you take it together. That way, you minimize the amount of time required for you as a couple. Can you complete the second certificate at the same time? Absolutely not. No. By law, you should not have your first certificate. You cannot file your case until you have issued or submitted your first certificate, the counseling certificate. And you cannot take the second course and get the second certificate until you have a case number. So you can't get the case number until you file. You have to finish the first certificate, counseling. Then you submit it. You get the case number from the court, and then with that case number, then you can register and take the second certificate. Can I get a replacement certificate? Yes, you should be able to. I have a maybe there, just because you might have. There are some agencies that are so cut rate that you will have a hard time getting in touch with them by phone or email. And it might take days or a week or more for you to hear back from them. That's not the way it should work, and we don't work that way. But if you need a replacement certificate because you've misplaced it and you haven't filed it yet, I know for our clients they can just access their online program again and download the certificate that's there, or they can get a hold of us by email or phone, and we will email out another one. Can you get a certificate today? Maybe. Again, depending on the agency you work with. and the time of day. If you have finished the online portion, or you are meeting with somebody in person or by phone, and goes right up to the end of that business day, say 5 o'clock, wherever that agency's office is located, you might have to wait until the next business day to get the certificate. I know for us, if we are done with the program, if our clients finish up the program in the morning or even early afternoon, we can usually get that certificate turned around and emailed back out to them the same day and copy their attorney. This is critical, especially for those who are going through bankruptcy, because they need to stop the foreclosure of their home. And in order to stop that foreclosure, the case needs to be filed. And to file that case, you need the certificate. And sometimes it gets to the last day and you need that certificate immediately. So that's why it actually is quite important if you can find an agency that might be able to issue the certificate same day, as long as you get all the information in. Let's say, hey, I went through this whole process last year. I got a certificate. I ended up not filing for whatever reason. There's lots of reasons people might get a certificate but not end up filing. Do I need to go through the whole process again, or can I just tell you that my information is still the same? No, you cannot. You have to go through, by law, you have to go through and do another certificate course. The law specifically indicates that your certificate is good for 180 days. That's basically a half a year. And after that 180 days, you are required to go through the process again. That is going to likely mean you'll need to pay for that another certificate. So if you are not sure you're going to file, and you take the course and pay for it, you're going to want to stay up to date so you don't have to pay for it again in another 6 or 8 or 12 months. This question goes back to, can I take the course for somebody else? Have a family member who's incarcerated or who's ill, who is not capable. You have to get approval from the court. You have to show somehow that they are incapable of taking it by any means. Power of attorney does not allow you to take the course for them. It just doesn't. So you can talk to your attorney if you want, but that's not the same thing. Your attorney, if he or she is a bankruptcy attorney, will clarify that for you. And then, is it available in other languages? Absolutely. Most agencies like ours will provide it in English, can provide it in Spanish, may even have a third or a fourth language that their program is in. If there is another language that you would prefer to have this in, you can ask the agency. They will either provide for a translator, interpreter, or they can get you in touch with an agency that does offer it in that language. You can go back to the EOUST's website, bit.ly/pre-BK, and instead of looking up by state, the approved provider, you can actually look it up by language as well. Will you be pitched? Now, a lot of people are worried, why do I have to go through this other agency? What are they going to try and sell me now? Nothing. They are not permitted. They better not. If you feel like you're being pressured to buy something else, that agency needs to be reported, because the EOUST and the law very specifically says that we're not allowed to sell you anything or try and get you to buy or spend money on anything else. That is not the way it's to be. So if you found this video helpful, please consider liking this on YouTube, subscribing to us so we can make additional future videos available to you, or at least notify you so that you know when they do come free or available. And plus, that helps us get the word out to others, and YouTube will put us up on the list when people are looking for helpful videos on this topic. If you would like a certificate of completion, all you have to do is go to moneyfit.org/live. You will find a link underneath the current webinar listed there to certificates of completion. You'll enter in your name as you want it on the certificate. Now, this is not the same thing as a pre-bankruptcy counseling certificate. Do not take this course and think that you're completing the bankruptcy certificate. This is just an idea on how the program works. But if you want a certificate of completion for the Money Fit Live, again, not for the bankruptcy course, but for the Money Fit Live, then you will enter in your name, your email address, your state of residency, and then put in the passcode MF Pre-BK. That's Money Fit Pre-Bankruptcy. That's what it stands for. MFPREBK, all lowercase, no caps, no spaces, no dashes, no dots, nothing. MFPREBK 20, just 20. And we'll email out a certificate immediately. Thank you. And if you have any questions, you got my phone number there, 208-286-3283. My email address is todd@moneyfit.org. And I will look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.